Hey guys, welcome to Approach to Nerd at our very late LWORD Generation Q Season 2, Episode 8 spoiler review. A lot happened in this episode to the point where I had to take a lot of notes. I took a lot of notes while I was watching this. I was like, this is a lot. We're going to start off with Baby Finley. Baby Finley is an alcoholic. Baby Finley does not realize, or she realizes it, but she doesn't understand the severity of her alcoholism. So in the end of the last episode, we saw that they got pulled over, her and Sophie, driving Sophie's car. The car ends up getting impounded. So Finley gets a DUI, spends a night in jail, and kind of brushes it off when Sophie bails her out like it was just one of those things. And she even says, well, I'm glad I was driving and not you because you wouldn't have handled it in jail. And I'm like, she's not understanding the repercussions of being an alcoholic. And to add on to that, she jokes about it when she's telling Alice and them at the lunch party her story. She's still drinking, but she thinks because she's drinking water in between, the shots and the drinks that she's fine. She even goes so far as to when her and Sophie get into kind of a discussion and Sophie asks if she's still drinking and she kind of blows it off like it's not a big deal. Sophie leaves her at the lunch party and she starts drinking again. She comes home completely intoxicated. And Sophie, who throughout this entire episode has been internalizing her shit, she kind of snaps a little and she says, I can't talk to you when you drink. When you're drinking, you're not you. All the light goes out. You scare me. It's like you're somebody else, basically. And she doesn't want to be around her. And she's like going to go sleep on the couch. And Finley ends up, saying, no, I'm just going to leave. So Finley leaves, probably to go on a drunken stupor somewhere, maybe sleeping in an alley or getting rearrested. Who knows? But yeah, Finley, and we all knew this. We knew when Finley went home, she didn't just automatically stop drinking. All her problems did not go away because from what I remember of the first season, Finley basically has so many issues with religion and her family and potentially being treated like crap for being a lesbian. All of these habits, I think, started from her initial familial trauma. So that's a thing. So I was like, well, so let's talk about, I'm going to go to the things that I thought were interesting and from short to biggest, I guess. So I love Tess and Shane. I think Tess is very good for Shane. I think Tess can keep Shane grounded if Shane allows her to. Is looking promising because, they made out in the last episode. And this episode, it's Alice's launch party for her book. We'll get into that in a minute. And so Shane's thinking about Tess the entire time. Tess basically decides that, she doesn't decide, but, she has to go and see her mom because her mother has MS and she's not doing well. So she goes off to Las Vegas instead of going to the launch party. And of course, Shane's missing her and then decides, basically, there's a speech that happens about Dana, which I'll also talk about in a minute, but I think that a lot of them got their perspectives put in order after they hear Alice talk about her favorite chapter, Dana, in the book. And so Shane decides to go off to Vegas and tells, Tess, I want to be your partner. It scares the hell out of me, basically, which we know Shane. Shane is so scared of commitment. Shane is scared of everything that attaches her to someone. That makes her, it's almost like Endgame. Like when she married, I think her name was Kiara, I didn't understand how that even worked because Shane was not really marriage material back in the old OG LWORD days. So again, she has grown, but it made me question something that I don't know if you guys have questioned this, but it made me question this. Shane, at the end of season 1, adopted a dog that she found in an alley, I believe, right after her wife had a miscarriage and, basically said, I'm done with you. You're happy the baby's dead, blah, blah, blah. That whole horrible, very uncomfortable, very traumatic scene. And in this season, we've seen the dog a couple of times. We even saw 2 episodes ago where Finley said, oh, don't worry, I fed your dog, basically. And Shane's like, oh, shit. So with Tess being out of town, with Finley being on an alcohol bender, and Shane following Tess. Who in the hell is taking care of this dog? And so this is my concern only because, number one, I'm a mother and I have a dog. And two, it shows that Shane still has a little bit more growing up to do in terms of responsibility. So this is why I'm worried, because I really like Tess and Shane together. Their sex scene was hot. Their chemistry is hot. I always loved Jamie Clayton's, as an actress. I love her. Again, one of my favorite ever shows that she's in is Sense8, one of my favorite Netflix shows. Love Sense8. So I love her and I love Tess. And I'm so worried because I feel like this is like the redeeming relationship for Shane to get her shit together. She's kind of got it together, but she kind of doesn't have it together. She's better. She's a hell of a lot better than she was in the past, and a trillion times better than most of the characters in this show. But I'm worried because she's not remembering to take care of this dog. So I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if this is going to come back later in the season, but like, how can you be responsible when you keep forgetting you even have a dog to feed? That poor puppy was doing better getting stuff in the street by himself. So I had to throw that out there because this is it's all connected. All right. So Shane, Tess, really, really hot sex scene, very cute morning after scene. Love them. So push them aside. Bet. So Bet and Danny get into it. So when Danny said she wanted to work with Bet again, her idea was to create a Nunes wing at the CAC, I guess, for Bet to be able to use as a platform for all of her Black artists, which Bet loses her shit. She's like, why would I literally do that? It's like signing, it's like signing my soul to the devil. You want me to actually have these artists, sponsored by a company that, is pro opioids and all, like everything that I'm completely against. And she's basically saying, I'm not going to be the one that makes your dad look good because your dad is an asshat. And Daddy's like, but my name is Nunes too. And I know that wasn't my intention. They get into this really heated fight. And so Danny, had been she talked to Bet about Gigi, and literally Bet said, I don't give a shit about Gigi. I'm telling you guys, Bet never gave a shit. So everyone's in their feelings about Gigi and Bet. Please don't, because that was never even Bet's thing. That she was somebody to pass the time with and get laid. But the irony of that situation is when she said that, and then they had that big blow up, the first thing Danny did was go back to Gigi's and have sex with her. And I thought that was very funny. But then she gets a call from her dad because, Bet, being Bet, decided to try and stand up for her rights and stand up for what she believes, which isn't a bad thing. But she threw these artists under the bus, including Pippa. She's like, I'm going to pull Pippa from you if you don't do what I want and get rid of this Nunes, wing crap. And so they call her bluff. And so Pippa gets pissed. She's like, I'm going through this again. And this is basically you. It's your pride. It's your reason. You're the reason this is happening. And it's true. So what's interesting for me about that whole thing with Bet is that, how they say pride, goeth before a fall. Bet had to swallow some crow. She actually had to go to one of her contacts at the CAC to try and get Pippa back. Now, this is the question that I have, because I nitpick shit. I can't help it. It's who I am. When you review stuff, you have to do that. So the woman who brought the message to Bet said the CAC was pulling all of her Black artists, all of the artists she brought from doing the showcase, right? She only went and fought for Pippa. What the hell? What about the guy we met, and what was it, episode 2? Maybe episode 1? What about all the other artists that she represents? You only fought for Pippa. That is BS. Not any time in that conversation did Bet say, none of my artists should be punished because of what I did or because of my judging, because I called your bluff or blah, blah. She said Pippa. So I'm just putting it out there, guys. I don't know if this is a writing F up or if we're just meant to realize that Pippa's the only thing she gives a crap about right now. But she did not stand up for her other artists. I'm just throwing it out there. So yeah. So we got a missing dog, or a dog that's not around, and some artists that are apparently not being represented because of Pippa. Just saying. But Danny, after her and Gigi have sex, she gets a call from her dad because, Bet threw a fit and tried to use Pippa's art as collateral, which again backfired. Her dad and the PR team for their company are calling her and they're like, you need to get here. Of course, Gigi's like, why do you have to rush out? Don't you have somebody else that can do that for you? And she snaps at her like basically like Bet did. And you can see it on Gigi's face. Gigi's sitting there like, I'm not doing this shit. I am not doing this shit. The irony of her face and the conversation that her and Danny have later when they kind of make up is that Gigi says, I don't do well with hot and cold. And then later in this episode, Tom says almost the exact same thing to Alice, which we'll also talk about. But long story short, Danny basically stood up for herself with her dad, told the people there, first she told her dad, you're jumping on me. All of this shit is your fault. And says, this is why you don't need me to testify for you. Because if I testify for you, I'm going to tell the damn truth about you. It's your shit, basically, and walks out. And I was like, damn, I don't know what's going to come of that. I think that her dad still has an emotional connection. Well, he has an emotional rope around her neck. Yeah, I will tell you this on a personal level. A lot of the things that were highlighted in this episode directly affected me a lot, like the speech with Dana, the timing of her death, like how she died directly affected me. And I'll get into that in a second. And also having a toxic relationship with a father, because I had the same. I gaslighted for my dad a lot. It took me a long time to stand up to my dad. So controlling, overbearing, a-hole dads, me and Danny have that in common. So yeah, only mine was military. So, but yeah, I was really happy she stood up for herself. And then she went and bought, what did she say, $27 or whatever, of beef noodles, and went to the house and gave it to Gigi and was like, yeah, let's eat. And it was like, I mean, honestly, though, I know some people don't see it, but I kind of do. I do see chemistry between Danny and Gigi. I really do. And I love is it called Farsi? Farsi, is that the language that Gigi speaks? I can't remember. I have to go back and see. I think Farsi is another way of saying it. But the fact that Danny knows her language and understands the culture, to me, that is just, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be a thing. I just think it's so, how connected they are is just really cool to me. So I don't know. I'm giving them a chance. Again, I'm not giving anybody a pass for cheating, but quite frankly, honestly, almost everybody in this damn show has cheated. So like, then you wouldn't root for anybody ever because they'd just be a bunch of cheaters. So, just putting it out there. So yeah, Danny and Gigi are not, I have them on my equator of, I don't know yet. I don't dislike them as a couple. I don't necessarily like them as a couple, but I have to see the chemistry because the chemistry is definitely there. So there's that. Now my sweet boy, Micah. Oh, Micah. I mean, at least he's in this episode. I mean, I had to put that out there because he wasn't in last week's episode. So Micah gets in his feelings because he has a patient who is a minor who goes to a doctor who also is on staff named Claudia, who prescribed Leuprolide to him. But, his parents obviously isn't going to sign for him to get that. And Micah basically relates to this, saying that used to be me. I was a person that my mother didn't support me when I was, trying to transition and, and all that. And so it made me fall into a deep depression. But initially when Micah first tried to confront Claudia, Micah just bust through her door. And what I like about Claudia is Claudia has what I call black girl magic. She was like, you lost your damn mind. I'm like, you come in my office. She's like, I'm going to try and be as professional as I possibly can for somebody who just bust in my damn office. Unlike what you think, I care about my patients because I have this thing called a medical degree. And I was like, I like her. She's spicy. And basically Micah goes to apologize after she mic dropped him. And then he ends up asking her to dinner. And so my initial thought was, what about Maribel? I know you're on this break. Well, is it really a break? I mean, all you talked about is we're not loving basketball. So he asked Claudia out. They have this really funny moment where he tries to make her dinner because she asks if he can cook. And he says yes. He almost burns down the house making steaks. And I guess, what did he make her? Empanadas or something like that. I don't know. But they ended up making something easy and everything seemed to be going really well. Like they had chemistry. I thought, okay, I guess this is going to be, the new character that Micah develops a relationship, which is really fast over Maribel, but whatever. This is the L word. Sometimes that happens. Well, Micah, when Claudia goes in to kiss Micah, he says, oh no, I can't. actually, there's someone else. And I'm like, no, what the hell? Like, why? Micah, why? And I understand, guys, I'm a human being. I understand that people may not realize that they actually want to be with somebody else. But I feel like Micah knew he wanted to be with Maribel for a while, So accepting this date kind of felt like a rebound thing. And again, I'm not saying Michael went in this with evil intentions. I'm just saying I feel bad for Claudia. And as he even said, I feel bad for him having to work around Claudia because now he just made this shit awkward as hell. And she's not the type, who's going to let that slide. So, yeah. But this did lead to something cool. So he invites Maribel over and they talk, and he's giving her this speech about why they should be together, basically saying, ever since we left, I've watched Love and Basketball 6 times. I was like, that's dedication. That alone should prove. I mean, I like the movie, but I'm not watching it 6 times. But he was like, I love you. And I'm like, holy shit, he dropped the L word. Now, again, I don't know the timeline between when Micah dumped his boyfriend who refused to leave his husband, wasn't saying he wasn't going to leave his husband, to them hanging out more and developing these feelings. Not saying you can't fall in love quickly. I mean, hell, I think I fell in love with my spouse the first moment I saw him. But I literally think that went really damn fast. And like, honestly, in the LGBT community, normally it's around lesbians that you normally hear the U-Haul relationship. But that shit was literally U-Haul. That was some U-Haul shit right there. I love them. I think they're cute, but I did not expect the L word to be dropped. Get it? The L word. I did not expect him to say I love you this quick. But again, whatever. I'm just surfing the wave that is Generation Q at this point. We didn't have like Tina in this episode. I know Tina's going to be in the next episode because we saw a preview at the end of this where Tina just flat out asked Bet why, she can't get along with Sherry, and that, are you still in love with me? So that's going to be a train wreck. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And guys, I did hear you in the comments section. I have to apologize if I mispronounce names. When I do these streams, it's almost 1 a.m. and I only sleep 2 hours a night. So be happy I can say anybody's names, but just put it out there. If I say, because I was talking about Sherry and I was also talking about Sherry, and I get them mixed up because their names for me are Carrie and Sherry. They're so effing close to me and I'm too damn tired and I'm old. So Carrie was not in this episode. I'm hoping Carrie is okay, because she sounded pretty damn suicidal last episode, and I have no idea what's going on with her, but obviously she must be okay if Tina's talking about her in the next episode. So just throwing that out there, but I had to put that disclaimer out. Anybody who's been with my channel for a while knows sometimes I butcher names, and you think it's going to stop, but I'm telling you right now, it's not. It's not. It will never. The train will go on. So don't be disappointed. It's going to go on. But yeah, so I am looking forward to what's happening next week. So let's get to Tom and Alice. So again, I told you I had a relatable story to Alice when she talked about Dana's speech, and I'll talk about that in a second. Some of her chapters are in the book. But first I need to talk about the fact that Alice flat out tried to biphobia her damn self. I was like, damn. So it's her launch party again for her book. Everybody's, coming to see it. She talks to Bet and asks if she should tell Tom that she slept with Nat. And Bet's like, well, you have one or two options. You could either, tell him and potentially lose him, or not tell him and live with a lie. And like, Bet knows. He gave me the right one to ask. And so, of course, Alice is like, so maybe I shouldn't tell him. I just live alone. She's like, no, I didn't say that. I'm like, this is such a reminiscent conversation to me from earlier this season when Sophie came and asked Alice the exact same question about what she should do about Danny. I noticed that these characters recycle plots a lot in this season, so I thought that was really interesting. But anyway, so long story short, Tom comes back from New York, giddy as hell, hyper as hell. He's like, I got a king size room and we can sleep, we can have sex all night. I'm excited. And so he notices that she's not as excited as him. And so he takes it like, oh, I'm pushing too much. I'm obviously getting overexcited again. I apologize. And then Alice just like literally not even 5 minutes before he's getting ready to go on stage to introduce her, because he's one of the editors, of the book. And she drops the bomb that not only did she sleep with Nat, and she did say they were not exclusive, which is true. They were not exclusive. But he's like, well, how, was it only once? And she's like, no, it was multiple times, but it didn't mean anything. And then he's like, well, that makes it worse. And she said, you have to understand, I haven't been with a guy since I was in my 20s. And he's like, that's bullshit. And I'm like, you know what? As somebody who is bisexual, he said something that makes me extremely happy. Finally, because there's been a lot of biphobia in this damn season. He says it's basically the same rules for guys that it is for women. And I'm like, yes, it is. And she's still going to be struggling with this, because in the next episode, you see somebody interviews her and asks who the lucky lady is she's dating now. And she's with a guy and she's struggling. And I've always seen that, yes, Dana cannot admit that she's also attracted to men, but it is almost like a huge secret or like a huge shame for her to admit that she likes men. So whereas Tina was like, I like it, come get it. Alice was always like, but I like women more, So like I said, it's interesting. I'm not saying if you're bisexual, you can't have a preference either or. It just means you're attracted to both. Like me, I think I'm more like pansexual because I don't care about the gender, but it is what it is. But my spouse is trans, biologically female, has not transitioned at all, but identifies as male. So it's a thing. It doesn't matter. But I just thought it was really interesting that Alice literally tried to biphobia herself. And Tom was like, he literally called her on her biphobia. And she's like, that tracks. I was like, that is so messed up. Now let's talk about the whole scene that got me in my feelings. And that was when she was talking about how Dana died, because my mother passed in 2008 from leukemia. She was diagnosed in December of 2007, and she was gone by March 18th of 2008. And I wasn't in a gift shop, but like I worked late, and then I was supposed to go see my mother. And I talked to her, and she asked me something about, she had a MySpace page and she loved putting pictures on it. And she asked me to do it. And I said, okay, Mom, I'll do it in the morning, because I was really, really tired. And then she hung up. And then my dad had gone to see her at the hospital. And apparently he fell asleep in the chair and her heart stopped because the chemo was too strong. And my mother was a heart patient. So she ended up dying. And like literally the last thing I told my mother was I was not going, I didn't feel like updating her MySpace page. And when I saw that, it messed with me, because I'm like, I understand what it's like to not be there and not have that closure when somebody you love passes very quickly. So yeah, that whole thing with her talking about you are my sunshine, and that whole thing about her talking about how she went to the gift shop to get, she tried to find a present to get, take a break, and then basically Dana passing while she wasn't, which we saw OG. We know how it happened. In my feelings, guys. Every time in my feelings. So I love that scene. I think that was probably Dana's actress's best outside of the funeral episode in the OG series, the best scene I've ever seen her act in all of the L Word. I loved it. I loved how she was trying not to cry. I loved how she was trying to stay funny and keep herself leveled and hide her feelings, but yet still being vulnerable. I love that damn scene. That, her talking about that chapter broke me. It effing broke me. So yeah, I had to just say something about that. So kudos to the writers for that scene, because they did not disappoint, even though we're all in our feelings about Dana dying to begin with. And it was something even the creator kind of regretted, which, if you really think about it right now, breast cancer is no joke. And there are people that literally, they get diagnosed and then, it just progresses so fast. But, outside of all the controversy of Dana's actress, being written out that way, you got to give her props, because I feel like this scene would not be here if we didn't have that. And so I I think I think that she needed an F. I think the people in the crew should have gave her a standing effing ovation, ovation for that. And then you see Bet and Shane like crying at the table. I was like, oh, you're just trying to effing kill me. Are you trying to kill me? Why are you doing this? Like, so yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And so yeah, I mean, at the end of this episode, though, pretty much people were hooking up all over the place. I mean, that's what it was. You had Bet and Pippa having sex. You already know Danny and Gigi were going to do it again after they ate that Chinese food. More than likely, so were Micah and Maribel, since now they're U-hauling. I mean, they're in love now. And let's see, we had Shane and Tess who were getting it on. Alice goes to the hotel and apologizes to Tom. And she's like, this basically scares me. This whole relationship scares me. They are very, like, Bet, Alice, and Shane are still very much the same people they were, like, in the original OG show. Yes, it's been years, but they haven't had a chance to really get all of their shit together. Like, yes, career-wise, they were all on track. But emotionally, they're still back in the OG series. I mean, it is effing obvious, So I really love that they're all trying to branch out. And I love that it was her talking about Dana that inspired all of them to go fix their shit. So, like, Bet was inspired to go try and save Pippa, not her other artist, by the way, but Pippa. And Shane was inspired to go get Tess and drive all the way to Vegas to be with her and support her with her mom. And then you had Alice beeline it over to Tom to try and fix things with him. And they ended up sleeping basically sleeping together in the hotel room. So yeah, there was a lot of feelings in this episode. There was a lot of trying to come to terms with your shit in this episode. Finley has not had that breakthrough yet. Finley is literally the weakest link this week. It's because Finley on alcohol is not a good thing. And I really wish that Sophie, so Sophie's very reserved, but she also can stand up for herself. So sometimes I never know which one we're going to get. I did not understand why she was completely not losing her shit when they were at that launch party and Finley kept bringing them drinks. And I don't know how she did that. I mean, yes, she did the right thing and walked away and said something, but like, I don't know why she let it progress to that. Like, when I went and picked Finley up and, and said that not only were you in jail and you had a DUI and you were drunk and didn't tell me, you said you were okay. My car's impounded and I got to pay $1,000 to get it out. Yeah, that's an ass whooping. Like, I don't even believe in domestic violence. And I think I would put her over my knee right there on those damn steps, right in front of the police, beat their ass. I'm like, lost your mind. And then another thing, Tess is a recovering alcoholic. Why in the hell isn't, or doesn't, should I say, excuse me, proper English, why doesn't Finley reach out to Tess? She literally is a sponsor. Guys. Mysteries. So I'm hoping Tess sees Finley and that Tess helps Finley, because Tess is a person that likes to help people. It is fairly obvious. And I think if anybody is going to reach Finley outside of potentially losing Sophie right now, it's going to be Tess. And I am completely down with that. I really would love to see that, because I like their friendship. Okay, yeah, they did have sex together, but in the last season. But I like the friendship they were developing in the last season. But yeah, I knew when Finley went back to Kansas City, there was no way in hell she dealt with her shit, because they're the reason she's like this. They are the root of the effing problem. So yeah, I knew that was not going to be a thing. So yeah, so now we just have this. We have to figure out what's going to happen with Shane and Tess, what's going to happen with Danny and Gigi, what's going to happen with Finley. Like, where the hell is Finley? Finley and Sophie. What's going to happen with Micah and Maribel? What's going to happen with Tom and Alice? What's going to happen with Bet and Pippa? And especially since Tina's back in the picture again. Because every time Bet gets close to somebody, I think somebody pointed this out in another stream of mine. It always seems like Tina's just waiting in the back to say, but I'm here. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen with that. They mentioned Angie for a second in this. They did say, she was waiting for a call to see if she was a match for, as a donor for her dad, or her donor, basically. And so I don't know how that's going to play out, but yeah, It is a lot, guys. This I had to take a lot of notes because I was like, there's a lot going on in this. And then on top of that, we still have the drama of how's Danny going to handle her dad going to jail? You know, because her and Gigi were talking about they're overprotective and controlling fathers, and how what they do is just BS. They want the best for you, but they do it in very effing messed up ways. So Danny and Gigi have a lot in common. And again, I said this last week and I said it the week before. Bet was never invested in Gigi. She was a rebound. She was somebody that got to be there to distract her because she was in her feelings about Carrie and Tina. And Gigi proved to be a good distraction, and maybe she was good in bed. I don't know. But she was not invested in that whatsoever. She could care less. And she wasn't crying when she left. As a matter of fact, when she saw artwork from Pippa, not Pippa, artwork from Pippa, Gigi was gone. I'm like, she was like, not even a thought, not even a concept. So yeah, I think that honestly, Gigi and Danny probably have a pretty good shot as long as Gigi doesn't want to cheat. And I don't think that she will. I think really Nat's more the polyamorous one now. Apparently they met when they were really young. So, but yeah, I kind of feel like, and I would love a flashback episode. I would love to have like a story about how Gigi and Nat were together when they were younger, and how like all the trials they went through with Gigi's family and all that. I would love to see that. I think that would be very cool. But like I said, when it comes to Danny and it comes to Gigi, I am not for or against. They are on the equator. I have an equator of let me put you in this little holding area until I figure out what the hell I want to do with you. And that's where they are right now. So this is not me saying, bro, Gigi and Danny. No, I don't know how I feel, but I do know they have chemistry. And that's just personally speaking. Can't speak for other people. But yeah, so that is my recap. Don't think I left anything out. Not bad for 31 minutes. So let me open my box. Sorry, I'm so damn tired, guys. I have no idea. So sleepy. Finley needs to grow up. You're damn right she does. Okay, here's my half British butt. I got tea, guys, because I need tea to stay awake. So yes, I am that person. I think Finley's harmed, like traumatically. What normally happens when people are that traumatized and they don't know how to get their shit together, especially with her family. I think her dad's a pastor or something. They're very religious. So if he's not a pastor, they live in the church. She's been taught and brainwashed that everything she is unnatural. So of course you're going to find a vice or something to take the edge off or something to make you forget. I mean, I'm surprised she's not doing drugs, honestly. So not an excuse for alcoholism, but you have to understand that some people are weaker and they need a vice. So that is a thing. As much as I want Sophie and Danny to work it out, I hope Sophie does not abandon Finley. I don't think she will. They were BFFs first. So we have to remember that. I still think, and I've always thought this, that freaking Rebecca, the priest, was such a good fit for her because she saw through Finley's shit and she knew she needed help. And she needs somebody that can help her help herself, not just take care of her or let her think she doesn't need to be taken care of. Because Finley likes to take care of people. She just doesn't get that she has issues. Like, she doesn't think it. And when you say something, she calls herself a POS. She's like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. And it's like, and of course, Sophie's like, don't put that on me. And what Sophie doesn't understand is, yeah, she is saying that out loud and is making you and your feelings, but she really means that shit when she says it. She thinks she's nothing. And because her family has made her feel that way. And it's bullshit. And it's pretty bad. So it is a thing. Sophie is reaping what she sowed. Yeah, you can look at it from that perspective. Yeah. Let's see. Finley needs help, but let's see. Help not to be thrown to the street. That was kind of, to be fair, Sophie did not tell her to go sleep on the street. Sophie said she was going to go sleep on the couch and Finley can go sleep in the bed. Now, question, guys, am I crazy? Was Finley not staying in that back room? Why couldn't she just go in her own room and close the door? Like, she didn't have to leave the house. She could be like, well, I'll just go. She could have been like, I'm just going to go to my room. So there was some kind of ulterior motive for her to leave the house, and that's probably to get more alcohol. So that's what that was about. She went on a binger. That's what happened. I believe Sophie and Danny are over. I do too. I think they're going to be like Bet and Tina. They're going to have this like attraction. And there's always going to be like those plot points where they are like giving goo eyes and saying things. Remember when we did this? Remember, like that's the situation. But I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Finley needs to attend those AA meetings. Absolutely. And I really need Tess to be her sponsor. Sophie is reaping what she sowed. Yep. I don't think so. Listen to how Danny realized her dad was a big problem. Clarify. What do you mean? Between her and Sophie? Okay. What do you don't think so? What? I'm sorry. Are you saying that you don't think that about her and her dad? Are you talking about how controlling he is? Because yeah, she stood up to her dad if you're talking about that. And she even told Gigi that the dad came between her and Sophie a lot. And she always felt like she was having to pick between them. So yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, it wasn't all her dad's fault, especially since he wasn't in the relationship. No, it was her dad's fault for the other shit. Like all the other stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys are in relationships, especially if they're LGBT, but something that I have noticed. My mother was not American. For some reason, when she was British, she's Scottish. She didn't have a problem with bisexuality. Well, she didn't have a problem with LGBT. I don't know if my mother ever believed in bisexuality, but she never made me feel bad about it and never said anything. But I'm pretty sure she had no problem with LG and then everything after that. But I think she thought, she probably had a little biphobia. But my in-laws are Korean, from Korea. And they have a huge problem with our marriage. Not just, I don't even think they even realized that they know, but they haven't digested that my spouse is trans. The only thing they see is that their daughter is married to a woman. So my first meeting with them was not good. Not good. And they've tried to get back into my good graces for a while, but I can be a very forgiving person, but I need you to basically prove to me that what you are saying to me is true. Because prior to me meeting them, they were sending us presents. They were like emailing me. They were so sweet. But when I was face to face, that's when all the homophobia came out. So, and to be fair, I got it all. My spouse got none of it. They came at me. So I had it literally, when people say they had a bad out of the closet experience, I had it with my in-laws, and that is so effed up, and it's not something you can just like let go of. And so when I'm looking at this comment, I'm like, yeah, it wasn't all of Danny's father's fault, but he was being homophobic and he was saying very problematic shit. So if Danny is like very connected to her dad, and then you saw that in season 1, she would even get in arguments with Sophie, because of what her dad was doing, because it was putting all this pressure on her. It was basically making her think, question herself, and and that's what happens when you're attached and you love your parents. What they say about you matters. Even when you get pissed off, it matters. Like even with my marriage, I would never tell my spouse not to talk to your parents, and I would never do that, especially since I lost one of mine, So, but at the end of the day, what they say can be hurtful to the partner. And it's just, that's what it is. So yeah, I'm not going to give him all the blame on their relationship going south, but I am not going to say he is innocent in that either, because that is not true at all. Yes, but Danny is starting to take accountability. It wasn't just Sophie. Yeah, Sophie is responsible for cheating. Danny neglected her a lot last season. That's how Finley just slid in there, and Sophie let her slide. But yeah, Dan, like I said, Danny was having a lot of issues. Plus, she really had a crush on Bet. So that whole thing was messed up. I'd never go back to someone who cheated on me or left me at the altar. I'd be scared. Yeah, I wouldn't either. I don't do well with cheating. I've never been cheated on. I've never cheated on anybody, and I plan to keep it that way. And if you need to get away from me, get away from me. Tell me that we are done. You don't have to waste time cheating on me. Just go. I can do bad all by myself. You know what Tyler Perry says? I think Danny knows she is at fault, and she is really looking at what caused her to check out of the relationship. That's her portion. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I felt like the cheating was a reaction to Danny not opening up to, Sophie. It's hard because Sophie apparently left her girlfriend for Danny. And I don't know if this was in the guise of her cheating on her girlfriend with Danny, or she left her, just dumped her to be with Danny. I don't know. We need more context on that. I need to know if this is the first offense, basically. Maribel straight up told Sophie, so you're just like Dad. That really pissed her off. Let's see. I understand Sophie's character, and I believe they still love each other. What I hate is that we didn't get that dialogue at the lake house when Sophie asked her. Yeah, I know. I'm shipping Danny and Gigi so hard. Love their sex scene. I hope they last. Like I said, they're in my holding area. I don't hate or love them, but I cannot deny that there is definite chemistry between these two. There is. The dog be at doggy daycare all the damn time. Does Shane remember the dogs? That dog is sitting in Shane's house trying to reach that damn dog thing, and it's probably sitting on the counter. I feel so damn bad for that dog. And you can tell because, again, when Finley's like, oh, by the way, I fed your dog. And Shane was like, oh, shit. Like, I do have a dog. I'm like, oh, Lord, somebody take this dog from Shane. Somebody just needs to take this dog home. Yes, the Persian queens. I think, isn't Danny's actress half Persian in real life? I have to look up her stats. I know she speaks a lot of languages. Baby Bet took her frustrations out on Gigi like Mama Bet. Yep. And you can see, if you saw Gigi's face, she was like, oh, no, we're not doing this again. At Mel, that sex scene wasn't good at all. Gigi had a better sex scene than that. I love this. You guys don't understand because I don't get in ship wars because, I'm not going to hold anybody. Like, I'm not going to embarrass anybody for this. But you have no idea. I'm a very broad channel. I do anime, Sentai, Power Rangers, movies, dramas, Charmed, you name it, like reviews. And there's always a ship war. And it really cracks me up. I can't help it. And I get it. You get passionate about your folks. You know who you want to sleep with who. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we want. It doesn't matter what the writers say. So it's a thing. I personally don't think it's healthy for Sophie and Danny to get back together because Sophie is devoted right now to Finley and Danny is trying to move on with Gigi and they are not thinking about each other. Who knows what's going to happen in season 25, but right now it's too fresh. I mean, they haven't dealt with anything. It would be toxic as fuck if they got together again. So yeah, I would have problems with that, but I don't know. I'm just thinking, I think it's really, really cute. Helena and Peggy have to come back and save the day. I thought she was coming back. We only have, 2 episodes left? When is she supposed to be coming? Because this is weird. And Danny had a better sex scene with Sophie before the wedding. She on it. You on it. Kismet and Pippa, we know she signed. Of course she did. I think the sex scene between Gigi and Bet could have been better. Yeah, well, Bet wasn't into her. So, I mean, it's a thing. She was not into her. I just don't think Sophie really loves Danny. I think she had a life she dreamed of, and Danny was the best chance for her to get it. So their dad walked out on them, and I think it really effed her up. And so I really and truly believe that Sophie, like Finley, has a lot of damn trauma that she needs to get over before she can commit and be faithful and be true to anybody. And I don't know why they have a whole ass friend who's a therapist that hasn't told these women they need to go into fucking therapy. I don't know what Micah's doing. Micah's not doing that. No one's taking care of the dog, and Tess is not sponsoring Finley right now. Which, to be fair, I guess you have to want to be sponsored. So Bet might actually be in love with Pippa. Bet is obsessed with Pippa. She was obsessed with Pippa before she met Pippa. I don't know how I feel about that. I like Bet and Pippa. Not enough black representation on the show, even if it's short-lived. I appreciate it. Yeah, and see, somebody else made that comment that they loved the fact that there were two black women, finally 2 lesbians that were black on the L Word that were in a relationship. But then it hit what I like to call the debate of TikTok, where people were saying, "But she's mixed, so you can't say she's completely black." And you can't take that away from other black lesbians who are fully black. And so whenever I see this comment, I always think about that, because it literally had, the whole comment section had like 795 comments. And like, it was insane. People were going at each other. So it's interesting. It's interesting, the different perspectives. But at the end of the day, she is half black, and she can, I feel like you can claim black representation, but I claim my blackness. My only problem is I also have to be very honest. I look like this, so I don't experience the same thing as I think I said it in the comment, guys. I say this all the time. My darker sisters and brothers go through a lot more than I ever will with cops, unless they think I'm Hispanic and they're trying to take me away, because that has happened. But outside of that, I get the wrong racism is what I'm saying. So it's a thing, but I mean, let's just be real. We need to have more representation across the board. We need to have more. First of all, bring Tasha back. Tasha needs to come back. I miss Tasha. Say something about Tasha. Read a chapter about Tasha. Where in the hell is Tasha? Why do we get nothing about Tasha at all? So we need to have Tasha back. But I think that having one episode where we had a club, or poker club, or I guess they're in the club, that had all black lesbians, and then Shane manages to flirt with the woman's wife and pisses the woman off, and then we never see them again. And I'm like, well, no more black lesbians. Like, that's what it felt like. It's like, this was your representation, and you would have had more representation, but Shane fucked it up. That's what they said. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, I skipped this comment. I think they robbed us of a full scene with Gigi and Bet, not the kitchen one. Yeah. They've been doing that. They've been cutting off scenes. Like the LWORD OG was so steamy. Like, I think one of the complaints for first season was there was not enough sex. So I think they're trying to fix that by having people just get down like every other episode. But yeah, some of it is not as graphic. Maybe they're just tired because they're older. They're like, I'm in my 40s. I'm tired. So maybe they're just tired too. They're like, we can't do these acrobats anymore. These acrobatic moves. So you just take the wheel. But I think it's funny. Like, you notice that the ones that actually have the most graphic sex are like the younger ones, like Finley and Sophie, or Sophie and Danny. Like, they're the ones you see really going at it, because they have sleep, they have energy, and they have age on their side. So that's what that's about. I disagree only because of the way they talked about what they said in conversations. Okay, I must have missed something. Gigi tends to ask too many questions when people are already upset about something. It's the timing that's off. True. I mean, I can see it both ways. I do agree that she says something. At the same time, I feel like she says shit that they don't want to think about, because let's be clear, none of these characters address their feelings. They all internalize their bullshit. Like, all of them do. And Gigi seems like to be the one that just doesn't. She's like, I think this is effed up. I think you think this is effed up. And even Bet said that she was right about something that she said about her, because they don't think. If these characters did think and address their feelings, they wouldn't need therapy. And all of them do. So yeah, I have to play devil's advocate on that one. From JB's post, and maybe she told the Tibet fans to be polite or to be patient. Who knows? Yeah, I agree, but it's pushing Danny to talk about feelings. And I agree with that. I agree that, see, this is the thing, though. These characters will never willingly talk about anything. Look at what Tom did for Alice. Alice wrote about Dana in the book, and it must have been so effing vague. And Tom was like, this is not your truth. This is not what happened. You're not expressing yourself. And because of Tom, Alice was able to actually say how she actually felt in her book, which is a step up. And not only that, she was brave enough to read it in front of a whole group of people. That is light years to where she was last season. So sometimes you need that character like Gigi to come out and shake shit up. You just do. Because if they don't, then nobody talks about anything. They just run around in denial all the damn time. It's just weird. So yeah. Isis, I was so happy to see her. Yep, I love Claudia. Claudia is cool. Micah was weird this episode. He was flirting with a woman, then flipped it, and when she kissed him, I know. I was like, what? It's almost like they got a different set of writers. I'm like, why did he agree to go out with her in the first place? He knew he was into Maribel. He watched Love and Basketball. What the hell is that? That's weird. I think eventually Danny will stop confiding in Gigi as so much and start with Bet once they clear up their issue, and it will be a problem for Gigi. I think that Danny and Danny and Bet are essentially the same person. So their fights will be off the chain. Off the chain. Let's see. I hope we see more of her. Gigi seems like more of a mother or aunt, not a lover to Danny. Gigi seems like an aunt or lover to everybody. Micah said he loved Maribel. How does he know so fast? I don't know. U-Haul. It's a U-Haul. I don't understand. That was a quick love declaration. Yes, it effing was. I was like, okay. I mean, again, I know sometimes you meet that person. I don't want to be ignorant about it. And hey, maybe you can find somebody that you follow. I'm telling you, when I saw my spouse, I was gaga. So, it's just weird that they liked each other. They slept together. Then they decided that they weren't loving basketball, and now they're in love with each other. And I'm like, where was the caveat? Where was that one area where that, it turned? It would have made more sense to me, which I guess I didn't have time for, being they only have 10 episodes. It would have made more sense to me if Micah figured this out at the beginning of this season and wasn't cheating, because he was basically Finley with his boyfriend and his husband. But if he had just been like, you know what, you're married, and then we never saw this guy again, there was no even point to even having this dumbass in there. He should have been hanging out with Maribel since the first episode of this season, and then somewhere around the second episode realized, I've been hanging out with you all this time, and I think I have feelings for you. And they try it, and by the fourth episode, and then they decide they're not loving basketball, so they both start dating someone else, and then they realize they want to be together. That's kind of natural. But it was just like, Claudia, I'm into you. And the whole thing, it was like Micah was being bashful, and he was embarrassed and jittery, but also highly, highly attracted to Claudia. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, you kissed me. I mean, yes, I asked you on a date, and yes, you help me turn my smoke alarm off. And, yes, I think you're incredibly hot, and it's also incredibly hot in here. And you ate my quesadilla or empanada or whatever the hell I made you. And, I'm just so, grateful you went out with me, but you kissed me, and I never gave you the signs that I was into you, which is not true at all. He was very receptive, or he was in a position to receive everything that Claudia was putting out to him until she kissed him. And then it was like, whoa. I'm like, so basically, if Claudia had never kissed him, they could have had more dates, basically. So yeah, that's just weird to me. But that might not happen until the next season of the last episode, because judging from the preview of episode 9, Bet and Pippa are going to be protesting against Nunez at the CAC. Well, I think the Tina thing is definitely going to happen too at some point. I don't know what happens. Maybe they're together because Angie finds out she's a donor, which is probably going to be what happens in the last episode too. We'll see. I like Sana Lathan, so I'll probably see the movie at least 6 times. Huh. Okay. I think Danny and Bet's relationship will be broken for a while. Well, Danny said she was going to let her cool off before she went and said something, and now Bet's doing a protest with Pippa. So, okay. I don't know why Danny's surprised. I mean, she learned this about Bet in the first season. All right, I hope Helena or Peggy come and save the day. I do too. I think Bet is about to crack Tina's face about Pippa. Yeah, I think Tina's about to be in her feelings. It's going to be interesting. Bet and Danny need to make up immediately. Their friendship is too valuable to be going through this. Writers suck. And many times I've said writers suck in shows. You have no idea. We've all seen the movie several times, just not 6 back to back. I know, right? I don't think I've seen any movie 6 times back to back. The writers aren't that bad. At least they're trying. They have their moments where I'm kind of like, I have a question mark. The things I'm joking about with the dog and stuff, I'm just generally thinking they forgot themselves. They were like, and maybe if we don't mention the dog anymore, nobody will remember him. Beck going too far, and she hasn't given Danny the benefit of the doubt. They're both the same. I'm telling you, they're both the same character. Lanja Too Funny. I'm not sure what JB's timeline is. She just said they should be patient. Okay. Big Pharma is a huge sore spot for Bet. Yeah, because her sister literally overdosed, which is so. The fact that Kit is dead is so hard for me. Big things are coming for Bet and Alice. Oh yeah. Next episode is going to be interesting. When it comes to Danny, Bet didn't go too far. Danny knows better than anyone how Bet feels about her father's company. She was trying to do something good. She should have talked to her friend Bet. Yep. And then Bet would have been like, I don't need your help. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. I have lost, unfortunately, a lot of family members to cancer. My mother was the first. She was one of 8. And out of all 8, 7 of them have died from cancer. There was 1 left. And then my previous spouse died from brain cancer in 2014. So, yeah, cancer, butt cancer. Bug it. Yes, she should have known. They need to fix Danny and Bet's friendship. So we're all in agreement that Danny and, because I mean they're the same person, so they definitely need to be fixed. I mean, you can't be away from yourself. I know that feeling. It was the same way with my mother. I wasn't there. It is a horrible feeling. It's a very horrible feeling. And you have all these like regrets and you blame yourself for not being there. It's just, it's a whole cycle. It's a cycle. Yes, I see your point, but I also think Bet was a little too hot-headed to Danny. They're both, like I said, Danny and Bet are both the same character. Look at how she snapped at Sophie last season. Look at how she snapped a little bit at Gigi in this episode. They are the same. She is baby Bet. Like, that's it. That's why she's had a crush on her. She essentially has a crush on herself. It's kind of narcissistic, actually, if you think about it. But yeah. She deserved an Emmy nom. Yes. Alice deserved an Emmy nomination for that whole scene. Bet is so hot-headed this season. She is, and they've been writing her entitled too, which is so messed up. Bet is going to lose her job. Yep. I'm are you a breast cancer survivor? Oh. Wait, breast cancer or brain? You said BC, so that breast or brain cancer survivor? Or another B that I don't know. But cancer survivor, then I am so happy you kicked cancer's ass. Love the OG trio's love for each other. That is the one thing I do love about this show. I always do well with trios. Like initially I like Charmed because of that. I like Motherland Fort Salem because of the trio. And I loved LWORD because right now the trio. Now before, technically it wasn't a trio. There were a lot more people involved in OG LWORD, but I love this trio. So I really like shows that have the trios for some reason. I don't know what it is. Danny and Gigi don't fit. Gigi is better counselor than Micah. Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I mean, they're still in my holding area. I do think they have chemistry, though. I really do. But I feel like it's not up to us. It's whatever the writers plan for those 3 that, the 3 characters in terms of like the younger bunch. When I say 3, I kind of feel like the 3 that are like the main 3 younger bunch are Sophie, Danny, and Finley. And then we just have Micah off doing his own thing on the side. So I feel like they are the 3. And then it's so weird. It's such a weird because Danny is essentially, if you really think about it, Danny is essentially Bet. And Finley is essentially Shane. And then you have Sophie, who is essentially Alice. So we already have Alice and Alice Jr., Bet Jr., and Shane Jr. also messing up, and then you have like, Micah on the side who represents pretty much a cornucopia of characters from the OG, series. So it's a thing. It is a thing. Well, Gigi was married to a therapist. True. That is very true. My mom and I were on the same train but different carts. I had no idea it was her who passed away, and it was on my 30th birthday. Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Yeah, that is not pleasant. That is not. So my heart goes out to you. It is not. My dad, unfortunately, this is definitely away from LWORD. When my mother died, my dad had said he was there. He went after work. He worked a midnight shift. She passed because he fell asleep. And he calls me in the middle of the night and says, your mother's not coming home. And I'm like, what? And he's like, because she's dead. She's dead. She's dead. So I found out that my mother died because my a-hole dad decided to call me screaming it in my ear. That's not something I ever want anyone to go through because I had to wake my daughter up and my brother, who has special needs, get them dressed and drive them to the hospital. And yeah, that was some things you don't ever get over. Let's put it that way. Finley is going to be one of those tragic characters. Finley is an after-school special by herself. I want her to fix her life. I really, really, really do. I don't want to believe Finley is a lost cause because she's not a bad person. She's just messed up by her family. Sophie has to take responsibility for letting Sophie drive when she knew, letting Finley drive when she knew that they were both hamless. Sophie has realized she made a huge mistake with being in a relationship with Finley. Honestly, she made a huge mistake by being in a relationship in general. Let's be real. She's not ready for one. Yes, Dr. Linda, where are you? They need Linda from Lucifer so damn bad. I don't care what that actress does after Lucifer. I will always see her as a therapist. So, like, I don't care if she plays an idiot. I'm like, I literally cannot see her but anything now. Unfortunately, I have typecast her as the best therapist in the TV world. So, it's a thing. Didn't know until that night that she was the woman that died. Oh, that's not good. That is not good. I am so sorry. My heart goes out to that. I mean, it's losing a parent or a child is probably one of the worst things you can ever experience. I've lost a parent and a spouse. Losing a spouse or partner, very, very, very hard to get over. You don't ever get over it. You just become another person. Like who I am with my spouse now is not who I was with my previous spouse. Completely different person. But it's harder when it's your parent. You don't have the luxury of becoming someone different because it's your parent, or your children. It's hard. It is hard. It's hard. Bet never really liked Gigi all that much. Nope. I mean, she didn't. She didn't even want to go out with her. She was doing it because she didn't want to be alone. That's what that was about. This part of the episode made me so sad because I understood. Yep. I mean, I think a lot of people could relate to that and are in their feelings. Danny and Gigi are mad to me. Yeah, see, like I said, I'm keeping them in my holes in the area. And yeah, Bet was never into Gigi. We've established that she's never been into Gigi. And I don't think she ever will be, unfortunately. That's just not something I ever foresee happening. Because she just wanted to have a rebound or somebody to distract her from what she was feeling, all the emotions about Carrie and Tina. So, yeah. Yes, Tina waits until Bet develops feelings for someone that could replace her in Bet's heart to come back every time. It seems that way. It's like that woman has Bet date-dar. She knows when she's dating somebody or she's in a relationship or about to be in a relationship with somebody, and she just comes in. It's like, she comes in like a wrecking ball. She starts hearing that Miley Cyrus song in her head, and she just rolls on through. It's crazy. I'm exhausted. LWORD is exciting. Tell me about it. I did like Bet saying, I don't give a, yeah, shit about Gigi. Yep. Bet and Tina's story is kind of getting old. Kind of. Kind of. I mean, again, it's in the OG show. I always thought, I really liked them together. And yeah, they were toxic and they did toxic shit, but like that's who they were. And now I'm seeing that there's so many people out there, I like Carrie. I feel bad for Carrie. Carrie has lots of problems like low self-esteem and, inferiority complex. Again, trauma. There's not one person in this show that does not benefit from going to a therapist. So it's a thing. I still think Danny and Sophie work better to me, or just let Danny date someone new. Yeah. I mean, like I said, maybe Gigi will do something to redeem herself in your eyes. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen this season because we only have 2 episodes left, but you never know. I think Danny and Gigi connect on a higher level because of their Persian heritage. Yeah. Now, and was it established that Danny was half Persian in the show? Because I think she is in real life. I don't know. I have to look that up. Do you guys think Bet and Tina are going to make a comeback? Probably not. Unless it's a few seasons down the line. Because right now, as I love the chemistry, really love the chemistry between Bet and Pippa, but let's not delude ourselves with the fact that Bet is obsessed with her. before she even saw her face to face, she's been obsessed with her since she was younger. That is creepy. That's like following your favorite, band member or actress or actor around and hooking up with them. That's some, I hate to say this, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes crap. So I don't know. I spent the whole day the day before with my mother, then saw her alive at last at 1:35 in the morning. Called me at 6:55 to say she was non-responsive. Yeah, I had no indication that my mother was going to pass. I mean, when she called me, she did not sound bad. She was watching television. She asked me to check her face or her MySpace. I might say MySpace. I'm dating myself here. Her MySpace page, because she used to put videos and pictures up and she loved it. And she was like, "Can you fix this picture?" And I'm like, "I'll do it first thing in the morning, Mom. I'm exhausted. I'll do it in the morning." And then she died that night. So I will always regret not fixing that damn picture on MySpace. I don't think Gigi and Danny will last simply because when it comes to work stress, Danny and Bet are the same. They go right to panic mode and push their lovers away, then go back to apologize. Yeah, they probably would understand each other greatly. Danny communicates more than Bet, though. That is true. But it's probably because Danny has gone through a little bit of trauma, but not as much crap as Bet has. So if Danny went through a lot more, she probably would be on the same level and she wouldn't communicate either. Because last season she was shutting down from stress. So I don't know. Nothing Bet is going to hurt Tina's feelings next week. It feels like the Jody storyline. Bet wants Pippa right now. Tina will want Bet again. Yep. And then it'll probably go full circle. Bet will want Tina, and Tina will be like, "Remember that when I sat there and told you I wanted you and you blew me off?" I can see it round and round and round. I sure hope Laura Holman is free to do the whole next season. I'd like to see how Tina is with the new characters. I would too. I mean, I don't even think has she seen Shane and them? I have to go back and look. Has she actually seen them? And with COVID, it's hard. So I don't know. The crazy part is I was 4 months pregnant and I kept it secret until Christmas to surprise her. And all I was thinking about is how I would surprise her. Aww. Yeah, my daughter was 9 when my mother died. Was she 9? Yeah, she was 9. And they wouldn't let her see my mom because she was in the ICU. So that's another thing. My daughter didn't get to see her grandmother either. It sucks. If Tina comes back, what happens with Pippa? I want to see what happens. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Me too. I don't want Bet to hurt her, but I don't think she's ready to let Tina go. I don't know. Like I said, it's crazy. Sorry for your loss, guys. I was in the hospital room with my mom when she passed. I hated the fact that I was in the room when it happened. That's pretty selfish of me. Prayers to you guys. Now, I get that. I do. There are some people that want to see that. I was in the room when my previous spouse died. Like literally, we were holding hands right before the ventilator went off. So I've seen it both sides. Let's put it that way. But I don't regret that. I don't regret not seeing my mother pass. I regret not doing what she wanted me to do and not realizing that I had such a short span of time because she had AMLs, which is very rapid leukemia. It went like that. Her brother, 2 of her brothers who also had leukemia, they actually had the longer version. I think one had it for 23 years and the other one for 18 before they passed. I don't know why hers was the way it was. It's environmental. It's not hereditary, but all of her siblings except for one got it. So I don't know. It's just crazy. The whole situation was crazy. I'm tired of the same old song. Me too. Yes, in real life, the actress who plays Danny is half Persian and half Chilean. Okay, thank you. I agree. They keep doing the same storyline with Bet and Tina. I wish they just let them be. Yeah, like I said, Carrie is a good character. And I think Rosie O'Donnell is really playing the hell out of that role because she doesn't act like any of her overconfident, annoying characters she's played in the past. Bet pissed off Danny and Danny jumped straight on top of Gigi. Is this supposed to be romantic? Bet pissed off Gigi and right after that, she told Danny she had feelings for Danny. This is weird. That's a good catch though. Because that's what I said earlier in the thing, that she got into that fight with Danny and then went home to sleep with Gigi. And then Bet got into something earlier this season and went and slept with Gigi too. Because they're the same person. They are literally the same. I think Gigi and Danny are rebounding. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let's see here. We definitely need more bi POCs on the show. Absolutely. Abso-effing-lutely. If Tasha comes back, Tom is definitely a goner. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't like how she's hesitating. That's the thing. I'm telling you. I've known of so many people. There are organizations I know that LGBT, especially here where I live. And like, I remember this one story I heard where this woman was like high up in the community and she was with a woman, but she was bisexual and everybody accepted her. And I guess they broke up. And then a few years later, she got engaged to a man and everybody wanted to kick her out. And I'm like, but she's bisexual. What do you think the term means? Like, I don't understand the logic. Therefore, there is no logic. It's just not. There's not. I think the problem is that Bet hasn't, in her own words, reckoned with her blackness. I mean, the thing about, well, okay, so remember what Angie said. It's not that she hasn't reckoned with her blackness. She's ambiguous. When you're ambiguous, it's harder not accepting your blackness, but having other people accept it. It's just what it is. There are some people that look at you and they just swear up and down. You know, they say, oh, 1-drop rule, which I'm going to tell you this. The 1-drop rule is effing stupid. Especially when I go to the doctor and they tell me because my mama was white, I am predisposed to all of this shit that I would not have had both my parents been like the same race. So not a opponent of that. I'm not like Halle Berry who just runs around and screams 1-drop rule all day. But at the end of the day, Bet does not look black. She does not. And Angie called her out on it in an episode in this season because it's actually a conversation that people don't have. There is nothing wrong with being mixed. It does not mean you hate your sides. It doesn't mean that you can't love being, you know, you're a black side or anything else that you are. My dad was half black, or is, he's still alive. He's half black or Nigerian and half indigenous. His father is 100% Native American. His mother is black, Nigerian. So I claim him. I claim that side and I claim my Scottish side because guess what? If I didn't, I wouldn't effing be here. I mean, no matter how people look at it, my mama ain't ever going to be black or Native, and my daddy's never going to be white. It's just what it is. And so with Bet's character, yeah, she has every right to say, I claim my blackness, but people don't always see that. And when you look at these boards, it's just like a shipping war. It is going to split. Some people are going to be like, you can, you know, that's our girl. She our girl. Don't be talking to our girl like that. She black. And then you have other people saying she is not black. She don't look like me. That's called colorism, you know, and I'm tired of people that look like that taking all of our roles in movies. And you know what happens? You know it happens because it is not a conversation that people want to have in this country. So it's a thing. I make videos about this, guys. I experience this shit all the time. But at the same time, I will tell you this, and this is Maria. I don't speak for any other mixed person in this world. I'm talking about Maria Park. I know because I do not look darker. I will never have a BLM moment. I have not had a BLM moment in my almost 45 years of life. I've had racist shit, but I have never had anybody pull me over for being too dark-skinned or black. I've never had anybody call me the N-word. I have never had anybody try to shoot at me because they thought I was black. I have that entitlement, whether I want it or not, because I look like this. And that is the truth. And I can't argue with that. And then Bet has that same damn entitlement because she's ambiguous. And hell, even Angie's like, people think you're Italian. It's true. It is absolutely true. So that's why it's so hard for me. Because when people say we need to have more black representation in the shows, I absolutely fucking agree with that. But when you say Bet, it's like, but you're basically, you're setting her up to be the subject of a really old ass war about whether she's black black enough or she's not, or she is black, basically. You either one or the other. You either not or you are. And when you mix, you know, when you're ambiguous mix, it's just what it is. So yeah, just like Bet is definitely white passing. I mean, a lot of people are going to say that. And I mean, well, look at Zoe Saldana. She's not even mixed. She's Dominican. So she's a black woman, but she's Dominican roots. So she, you know, she identifies more with her Spanish and her African roots. And when she played Nina Simone, what happened? She wasn't dark enough. They roasted her alive. They were like, hell no. when I say they, I mean people in general. I'm not talking about the Black community. I'm talking about people. There are all shades, all creeds saying that she should not have played that character. So, I mean, this is a conversation, guys. It is a conversation. But when I say we need to have more Black representation, I mean it. I'm talking like my girl, Lupita Nyong'o, who is a fucking goddess. Like, love her. Love her. She is beautiful. She is talented. And she really does not get, I feel like she needs to have a lot more roles than she's been getting. She won a freaking Academy Award. She needs to be doing a lot more than she's doing. And I think there's another woman I think that is absolutely gorgeous, and that is Viola Davis. She aged very well. I think she is gorgeous. When I say we need to have more Black representation, I'm talking about actresses like them, not actresses that look like me, because that's not the conversation people need to be having right now. I'm just saying. So yeah, but I do love it when you say I'm in the club, guys, because I need to be in the club. I need love. I need love. I need love. I love you. You need to love me. Why you hate Gigi? You sound like I'm gonna stay out of that. Like, Angie even told her she walks through life differently. That is why the Bat Pippa storyline is important. Yeah, I mean, she's mixed. I mean, it's what it is. She mixed. Her mama was white, her dad is Black. She mixed. It's just what it is. Does not take away from anything. It's just reality. It's just what it is. Yeah, I really hope they keep Pippa around. I think that Vanessa Williams probably will be, because I didn't think Gigi was going to stay. I thought after that whole polyamorous mess with Alice and Nat that they were just going to get rid of her, especially with Nat no longer being Alice's partner. But I guess people liked her, or she was charismatic enough that they decided to just make her a regular. I don't know. Tess and Shane's love scenes seem blah. So this is my mode of thinking. And this is only because I have a trans spouse. I don't know how much surgery are transitioning. And I know that Jamie Clayton did get the reassignment surgery, I believe, years ago. But I don't know how well it came out. I don't remember seeing her completely naked in Sense8, from the front. Like in her boobs. I need to go back. To be fair, guys, I love that show, but there really wasn't a point where people were not naked at some point in that show. I mean, hell, they were even having orgies. So I need to go back and watch Sense8 to see, but it could just be because of the surgery. Maybe there's lines, maybe the breasts weren't formed right. I don't know. But you can tell when, Shane's arm was covering her chest, or when they were first doing it and she still had on her bra, they were purposely taking away from certain parts of Jamie Clayton's Tess, basically her body. So that actually could have more to do with that than the choreography of that sex scene. I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. Please do not say that Maria said, because I don't know. I have not seen this woman naked. I'm Black, and I don't understand why people say she doesn't address her Blackness. She gets upset when people assume she's white. Remember when the white actress was picked to play her in Jenny's movie? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because when you're mixed, you don't normally say you're white and Black. You say you're mixed, or you say you're both, because it's true. I had like I said, I struggled a lot with this growing up, because in the UK, you're just mixed. But here in the States, it's like you have to pick. And I don't understand that, because I never wanted to pick between my parents. Like, I just saw them as my parents. I mean, all the other political shit comes later. When you're in your house, you don't think every day, damn, am I going to be Black today? Damn, I'm going to be white today. I mean, it's not even a computation in my mind. So, like, it's not until I walk outside of my house and get into society that all that shit matters. So, and not to say that politics don't matter, because they do. There's systemic racism. I can literally show you a chart, but at the end of the day, genetically, because we got to talk about the science. We're always talking about how we trust the science. Well, my science is this. My primary shit is Scottish, Black, and Indigenous. And that is what I am. That's what makes me up. I have a lot of other crap according to my 23andMe, but that was my direct stuff. My immediate family, that's what they are. I'm never going to say I'm not proud to be Indigenous, because my grandfather was full for freaking Native American. And I mean, that's ignorant as hell. I would never not claim my Blackness. I'm also proud of my Scottish side. So, I mean, I still have family to talk to me. It's ignorant as hell not to. That is your family. You don't pick your family. That is just who they are. So that when you're mixed, it's just such a weird way of life. It's just weird. It's just a very weird conversation. So yeah, like I said, I don't know why people say that. People get in their feelings. I don't know why. I don't. But I will tell you this. There's never been a time where I have not claimed my Blackness, but I get pissed off that I have to keep doing it. It makes me angry that I have to spend so much time saying I claim my Blackness, but I love my Black sisters and brothers. And that pisses me off. I should never have to do that, but I do. And that's why I make those mixed erasure videos on my channel, guys, because it pisses me off. And it's not, like I said, this is not even a stab out at the Black community. This is a stab at all communities. I mean, because that's what happens. People they want to put you in this box, and then you have to prove yourself all the damn time. And it's so frustrating. It's just frustrating. Why do you ask a woman from workout? He's a counselor. Why couldn't he read the signs? She was flirting. Because Micah doesn't read signs. You know this. We love Micah. He's adorable, but he's not the brightest, crown in the box. Like when he busts through her door, and she was like, I said, Micah, you about to get your ass whooped. In the OJ season, they hardly address Bet's Blackness. Well, to be fair, look how they treated bisexuals and transgenders. I mean, we cannot go by that. They were basically notable for having one of the first openly, almost full LGBT series, especially lesbian series, on television. It was risque because nobody was doing it. They can't get away with that now in 2021. To be fair, back in that time slot, half the people that were actually gay in real life were still scared to come out, even after Ellen. So, I mean, that tracks to me. Her not talking about her Blackness. I mean, you saw her dad, come, and I think he had Alzheimer's or dementia. I know, before he died. I can't remember what it was. He was sick, though, and he was homophobic as hell. We did see his dad, or their dad. We saw Kit and her father. But, yeah, they never wrote a conversation about it because they don't know how to write mixed people. They don't know how to write us. I'm telling you, they don't know how to write us. It's a thing. They did once about the donor. The storyline were rushed probably because of the limited episodes. Yeah, I can see that. Sorry, my keyboard is playing with me. You're fine. You don't ever have to apologize in here. I type like things so fast, and my keyboard will autocorrect with Grammarly automatically, and half the time it just comes out as crap. So you are absolutely fine. Mutu, I lost too many to cancer. It's sad. Yeah, cancer is just in my feelings, guys. In my feelings. Carrie has too much baggage. Tina's going to get tired of always propping her up. But Tina should have done something to make her not feel like she needed to prop her up, because I saw how she talked to her. That's kind of messed up too. Micah is Dan Foxworthy. I can see that. I can see that. Gigi is the new Dan Foxworthy. Let's see. It's like they want Bet to walk around with a sign that says I'm half Black. I don't know why. You just can't be it. I don't understand. I feel like, because there are some people in the world who may be ashamed. Like, there are people that pass. I'm never going to say that there's not. There are people that are out there pass. There are people that are just not just in the Black community, like an Asian community, Hispanic community. If they look more white, sometimes they'll just pass because it's easier. I have a good friend who is a content creator who basically says that they are Black because they don't want to deal with all the stuff and they're mixed. And it's sad because I've never thought from that perspective that you would feel so bullied or you feel so, left out or out. You're like an outsider that you would do something like that, especially when you don't look completely Black, and you're always mistaken for Hispanic. So I don't know. I always think about these things. It's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. And like I said, I'm not here. I am not the spokesperson for mixedness. I'm not here to lecture people about it. I'm just talking about my experiences and my almost 45 years of life. I get effing tired of having to carry a flag saying, please understand that I love being Black. I don't even understand why I need to effing tell anybody that. I mean, that's me. I know what I am. It's my personal choice, my personal life, and what I am genetically. So why do I need to tell you this? No, why do I need to prove this to you? It's like one of my running jokes is it's like literally walking into somebody's house, looking at their mom, looking at their dad and saying, your mom is ugly today, so you're what your dad is. That's what it feels like when you're mixed. People walk in here and be like, so you look like this and they look like that. Okay, so you're that. And nobody else has to deal with that shit. And that really irritates the hell out of me. So yeah, I always get in my feelings hardcore when we talk about mixed conversations because it's been something that obviously I've been dealing with personally for a very long time. But yeah, and then if you talk about it and people instantly think, oh, you don't like your other side. I'm like, where did you get that from? Where the hell are you getting this from? Oh Lord, I actually there is a TikTok video that we reacted for Victoria Rain's channel where the guy he makes this video and he's like, he's like, if your mama is black, then you're black, but if your mama is white, and I'm like, what? Like, who made you the messiah of literally ethnicity, assignments? I'm like, I can't. I just can't. I cannot. So yeah, I like Carrie too. I think Carrie's adorable. I really do. With Zoe Saldana, she was using prosthetics to make her nose wider. She took it way too far. I think that was the makeup and the director's problem. I don't think they should have bullied her for it. They should have gotten on the people who told her to do it, because that was a Hollywood choice. But yeah, I know people got in their feelings about that, but they were upset way before they even started filming that. Because I remember on Twitter, people were like going insane. It's almost when Zendaya won the Emmy, and they said that she was the first Black actress to win in her age group an Emmy, daytime Emmy, and Twitter went crazy because they're like, she's not Black. I'm like, and she says she's Black. She doesn't know herself biracial. I don't know. Like I said, this has been a conversation. It's like having the ship war. It's the same crap. At the end of the day, I let my genetics talk. I know what I was born. I know who my parents were. I claim all of them and everything, so they'll be all right. I don't care what I really don't give a shit what people say. Never have. Never will. So that is the thing. I said about her reckoning because that is what she told Pippa. Oh yeah, I love Lupita. Lupita's gorgeous. Gorgeous. So was Viola. Viola just, that lady does not age. Even the Suicide Squad movie, I was like, that woman is not aging at all. It's like when she started doing How to Get Away with Murder, she just stopped aging right there and she never went any further. So yeah, I'm completely all down with that. Let's see. I think Tess was more exposed during her tryst with Finn. I need to look at that. I really need to see, because there's a reason that normally when they film you that way, I have a film degree, and they teach you that if an actor is uncomfortable with something or whatever, there are ways to creatively cover or have another actor, help them cover. You'll see it a lot in interviews. People that do a lot of sex scenes in movies will say that they worked really well with me and took care of me during the sex scene and all that. So, it could have been something like that. And plus, Shane is married in real life. Maybe Shane's wife is jealous. I don't know. I'm remembering that in an interview, Jennifer Bills did say she asked the writers to address Bet being mixed. And that is a conversation. Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, the episode that I always talk about is from this show called The Bold Type on Freeform. It's when Kat, a character, so basically there's about 3 millennials, and Kat is mixed. Her mother is white, her father is Black. She gets promoted. I think she's going to be like the first social media director at Scarlet, the magazine they work at. And they have her friend Alex, who is Black, basically talk to her and say, oh, well, why don't you say that you're Black? And she's like, but I'm mixed. And she goes through this whole thing where she even says, when I was growing up, if I picked my dad, then I felt like I didn't want to be what my mom was, or I was picking my dad over my mom, and vice versa. And he said, well, you're not a kid anymore. You're an adult, so you need to get over it. And then she put that she was the first Black social media director, and they called that self the first biracial conversation. I'm like, how in the hell is that a biracial conversation? You basically just told her what to pick and guilted her into doing it, when she literally just said she was biracial. It wasn't like she was going around saying she was white. She was saying she was mixed, and they made it seem like that was the wrong choice. You were ignorant, and stupid. So I looked myself in the mirror and I'm like, my dad's native and black and he looks completely black and my mother is white. Can I be the first black whatever at my company? I would be literally crucified, crucified, walking in like this, saying some shit like that. But by what they told me, I should be able to do that because we got the same damn mix, right? It doesn't make sense. It is stupid. That whole conversation is dumb. They didn't know what the hell they were talking about. That episode all in itself was just trash. So yeah, just put it out there. So if you watch The Bold Type and you see that episode, it's called Rose-Colored Glasses, I believe. It's rose-colored stupid. I think Carrie lied about her drinking. I was wondering about that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she was. I honestly think she was so low. She was just getting drunk. I really do. I really think she was absolutely, 100% honest about her having like binge eating disease or overeating disease. I could see that. But I think that she has an addictive personality. And the worry is that she could become like Finley. And that's what I think the bigger conversation is on that. That Trice with Tess and Finn was just wrong. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I didn't like that either. The saying is, you are what your dad is. Laugh out. If he's black, you're black. If he's white, you're white. Yeah, they don't get that. Like I said, what all the people need to understand is that the Jim Crow law was racist as fuck. And it didn't just apply to black people. So why are we listening to archaic stuff? How about we just go by, you are what your parents are. They're this broad thing. And this is what you are. Merry Christmas. I'm like, it's so simple. It's terrifying. I'm remembering that an interview Jennifer said she did. Okay, I think I read that one. I think I was going for here. Melvin had advanced prostate cancer. I didn't know that. Huh. Okay. Did I skip? I feel like I skipped something else. If I did, I'm really sorry, guys. Because, I'm old. My eyes are old. I want to wear glasses, but the camera reflects them, so then I can't see anything, and I just make a mess of everything. So, but we have been talking for an hour and a half, so I think this is a good cutoff point. For me, it is now 2:03 a.m. I am exhausted. I have work in the morning. I have a stream tomorrow. We're doing the What If stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the latest What If Marvel episode. So you'll see that in the community tab. Please check that out. If you're into motion comics, I have an amazing one that's going to be voice acted. It's coming out in 2022. I have a link in there. It's called Wars of Sarah. So check out the YouTube channel. It only has the channel art, but that's where it will be posted. So make sure you subscribe. Also, if you have any questions, concerns, theories on what's going to happen in the next 2 episodes, because we got 2 episodes left, guys, let me know, because I love talking about this and I love watching your conversations. I read every comment, even if I don't directly respond, I do read them. And I love what you guys are saying and the theories you come up with. So yes, please leave that below. And as always, if it is day for you, have a good day. If it is night for you, have a good night. And I will see you on tomorrow for our next stream. Bye, guys.